Hello, and welcome to Introducing Me. I'm your host, Sarah. I started this podcast to get to know other people and lifestyles while discovering more about myself. Each episode, I will give a new guest a chance to discuss their background, culture, interests, or whatever they want to talk about to help increase all of our own worldviews. Today, I would like to introduce you to Zorina. She is an Army veteran who retired in 2020, and she is a caregiver who has more recently found joy in making games. So she's got a lot going on in her life, and I'm excited to hear more about her story and what, the past number of years have brought to her. So thank you so much, Zorina. Why don't you go ahead and tell the audience more about yourself?
First of all, thank you for having me, Sarah. And I like to correct it up. Actually, I am a Army veteran. I am a disabled Army veteran. But I did not retire from the Army in 2020. I actually retired from the Department of Veterans Affairs after serving 30 plus years of helping veterans with their disability claims. Yes, I am a caregiver. My brother had a brain stroke on his left and right side, so I took up the responsibility to help them. That wasn't a part of my retirement plan. However, seeing him grow is such a delight. And then something happened to me in December of 21. I became a game creator. I created a game from a dream that's just changing how I see the world. I kind of, as a veteran, I saw myself fighting for our country. And now I'm in a space where I want to fight for our children with digital balance. I am a grandmother of two granddaughters, 12 and 13, and I've seen the positive side of digital, but I also have witnessed the negative side of digital that has prompted me to really advocate for parents to be aware of what their children is watching and to also allow them some downtime to continue to build their social skills because I feel like many of them are becoming isolated. And so I created games to help with that family connection and multi generational connection. And lastly, I'm so excited, Sarah. My first children's book, Dancing Teardrop, is being finalized. That was a personal challenge to myself. So I encourage your listeners to try to have a personal challenge, something that really stressed you. And following retirement, that's what I did. I said, I'm going to sit down and write some creative work. And I did that a year after retiring. Here we are. But almost 3 years later, I'm going to get it published. I'm very excited about that. And then finally, although I'm retired, I still continue to help veterans in my spare time to submit their claims to the VA to understand the process because many veterans do not understand how to submit their claim. And so I want to still continue to support the men and women that have served our country by helping them to connect with the VA and to get the compensation and other benefits that they are entitled to.
Right. So it sounds like, you've had a lot going on just in the past couple of years, but have this rich history of things you've been getting up to and, continuing to share your passions. So why don't we start, we'll go a little bit chronological, so we'll get into the game and all of that later. Why don't we start
Mhm.
with like kind of your service, at being a veteran and what that experience was like for you and kind of why you first got into the Army?
That is a great question because I really think it shaped my life. When I was in the military, I joined at the age of 19. And how that happened, to be totally and transparent, at the time, my ex-husband and I, we met in college and fell in love. And so we both were broke. And so we decided that we would elope, get married, and keep it quiet and not let our parents know because we wanted them to continue to pay for our education. But my mom, I call her Snoopy, she went looking around in my room and she found my marriage license. And so she confronted me and said, okay, now that you someone's wife, you need to get your own place, you and your husband. And so we had to get our apartment and then we struggled trying to come up with our tuition and then pay our bills. So he and I decided, you know what, the military was offering education benefits, and we decided to join the military because we felt like, wow, this is like a win-win here. We can continue our education and then also support our country. And so we both joined the military. And I tell you, the military experience really helped me to learn the leadership, the discipline that I needed. But unfortunately for me, I had a freak accident during basic training. I got hurt. And so that changed my life forever. With the hand damage that I had, it affected my life in so many other ways. But when I look back on my military experience, I completed the basic training, I completed my advanced school, and then I was stationed at Fort Polk down there in Louisiana. And then I got pregnant. And at that time, many of you don't know this, but at that time in the early 80s, women had to have someone take care of their children to stay in the military. And at that time, my husband and I, we really weren't excited about doing that. So we decided that I would get out the active duty and go on and complete my obligation in the reserves, which I did, and then take care of our son. And so it really worked out great because I was able to get my degree and complete my military service and live this fantastic life, not only serving my country, but just continually to serve veterans that serve our country. So that's how the military part happened for me.
Yes, but it sounds like, you found a place that you loved in military service, even if it wasn't, in active duty. So what sort of, responsibilities did you have helping veterans get their benefits? Like what does that all entail?
Well, actually, when I started working for the VA, we call them claims examiner. And what that is, that's the position where veterans come in and submit their claims. You review their application, you see areas that they may need to submit evidence to support that they have a disability. You go out, you gather that evidence. So it's almost like adjudication. It really is adjudication, something similar to, I assume that law firms do. We have to adjudicate the claim and see if it's valid and try to help the veteran as much as possible to gather the evidence that they direct us to. So I did that for several years, and then I got promoted to a senior claims examiner. And in that position, I review what the claims examiner did when they process the claims to make sure the payment is accurate, make sure all the evidence supports what we're going to grant the veteran, and then I'll prove it. And then one more promotion, I became a rating specialist. So now I have the opportunity, which is very crucial to most veterans, to evaluate their disability to determine what level of disability they have. And then once I made that determination based on the medical evidence of record, I would write up a narrative of what we call a rating decision. And then the claims examiner would input that information to the system, and then we'll generate a veteran a benefits after this senior, like I said before, authorizes it. And then finally, I had the opportunity to come to DC to work at headquarters. And working at headquarters at an agency is really, it's just awesome, tell you. Although DC was very challenging coming from Tennessee, where I went to college and sort of like planted some roots there. I like the South. And so coming here to DC was so different for me. Obviously, I adjusted because I'm still here. But working at headquarters, you had an opportunity to look at things from a national level as to the policies and procedures that we develop here on the national level and seeing it implemented on the local level to help our veterans. And then finally, when I retired, I was a program analyst where I had benefits, different programs that I would support veterans. And any veteran that's listening now may know one of our online system was e-benefits. I was the ground rules for that, the tester for that. And so when I look at my VA career, I have to say that even though veterans come in with paperwork, you really had to see them as a person. And sometimes it was very difficult because it was a production driven job. And I remember, Sarah, there were times that, oh, you just had to think really, really, really fast. And I will always imagine an episode of Lucy. You may be too young for that, but Lucia Ball, her and Ethel was at I think it was a candy factory, and they couldn't catch up, and they just started eating the candy and eating the candy. And I just always feel like if I could just process these claims so fast, I could make a difference in the lives of the veterans. And then I finally learned that I can only do one claim at a time. Just focus on that veteran, make sure you did everything correct for that veteran, and then go on to the next veteran. And so that was the rewarding thing for me, knowing that we're making a difference in these veterans' lives and giving them again access to the benefits that they deserve. And so that's what made staying with the VA so rewarding over the years.
And now you mentioned that after retirement, you're still involved in some ways helping other veterans. So what are you doing to still be involved and help even though you've left the full-time job?
Well, there's a service organization, friend of mine. And so a lot of times when she is unable to answer their questions, she would refer them to me. And then I started realizing that although I was presenting myself as a representative of the VA, so I was very limited in the sense of what I can say as a government official, in that capacity. And so once I started helping veterans as a non VA employee, I was able to share more information. I was able to share tips with them. I was able to console them, especially some of our veterans that are experiencing sexual trauma. Many of them are hurting. They have trust issues. And so I'm able to help them a little deeper and more personable. And being a disabled veteran myself, people would assume because I work for the VA, I easily know how to navigate the system, but they fail to realize that I'm still a veteran myself. I still have to submit the same requirements as any other veterans. Maybe I understood the process a lot easier, but it still doesn't give me any favoritism. And so I'm able to break it down a lot easier for them. And in this situation, some of my friends and different ones think I'm a little cuckoo, but I have gone to their homes where met their families, sat down with them, and I talk to them for a while on the phone. So we build a rapport where you feel comfortable with them. And, veterans we really do have that camaraderie where it doesn't matter what branch you're from. You could be Air Force and I'm Army. It doesn't matter. We still have the same mission to protect our country. And so me taking my own personal time to continue to help them to understand the process of submitting their claims, it's just rewarding. And sometimes, veterans express their gratitude a lot, and then sometimes they'll contact me and disappeared. And then I get to wondering, is everything okay for them? So that's that mental part of it that can be a little irritating. However, for the greater good of what I'm doing, many of them do appreciate. And I'm very happy that I gained so much knowledge from working with the VA and how I can work with a service organization that I'm working with now. I've done presentations to show them and demonstrate how to submit their claims. And so it's just been very rewarding, just like it has been in working for the VA all those years. I continue to reach out and help the men and women that served our country.
Right. And so you chose to retire and your path has maybe taken some unexpected turns. What were your original plans for retirement?
My original plan, my lady, was I wanted to go live overseas for like 6 months to a year. I just really wanted to travel before I started having issues with my health. And I was looking forward to that, going to see some friends that live out of state and just experience that out of America experience of living abroad. And so I didn't want to go too far though. I thought about going to Mexico, and then or either St. Thomas, because you don't have to have anything special. You just move over there, find an apartment, set yourself up. And so I just wanted to just do some things that I've never done before. And unfortunately, I still can do that to a certain degree. I just have to plan a little bit more because I have my brother that I'm responsible for. So I have to make sure that I have someone that, should he have issues, and if I'm abroad, that they can step in my shoes and help him. But I love retirement. I'm going to tell you guys who may be near retirement, don't be afraid. They tell you you need all this money, you need this and that. I will tell you, you do need to be a lot debt free as much as possible. But once you retire and you have activities to keep you engaged, it's a wonderful experience to decide this is what I'm going to do. And you don't have to pick up the phone and act like you're sick. I don't think I'm coming in today. You could just say, you know what? I'm just going to sit this out. I might just do a Netflix binge or something. It's just wonderful.
Awesome. I love, the carefree attitude as, you've been able, you've switched plans a little bit, you've had some new passions. So if you're willing to talk about it, can you kind of share, what it was like when you first had to become a caregiver for your brother?
Oh gosh, man, it was the hardest thing for me because it's been a while since I took care of someone. I was a mom, I had a son. And so it was, for many years, it was just all about girlfriend here and doing whatever I want. And then I would have never thought that I would be taking care of my brother, because this, how siblings have their rivalry. Well, this is the one brother that I bumped head with a lot, and so to find myself as his caregiver, sometimes I still have to pinch myself and say, why did the universe choose me? Of course, we get along very well because I think my brother, he's more humble. He's appreciative of what I did. But the scariest thing was for I had to first I tell that is I had to do everything because he had the brain damage. His cognitive skills were very bad initially. So he wasn't able to figure out. He forgot everything, passwords, everything. He just totally forgot. He couldn't remember a lot of things in his life. So basically, I had to rebuild his life based on what I was able to ascertain from his computer, his employer, and a lot of things that just got left behind. But I was able to get his life together where I got him out of debt. I was able to regain some normalcy for him. Like I had to do meal prep and everything because he can do the physical things, but it was the exhausting to have to repeat yourself over and over. And then early on, he had a speech impediment. It's like he wanted to tell you something, but it wouldn't come out. So you had to be very patient to listen to him. And then I was so overwhelmed because no one came to assist me. Everyone was living their life, and it was just he and I. And then one day, the wake up of the seriousness of caregiving. And I want to tell everyone who caregivers, you have to take care of yourself first. And I wasn't doing that. I was so focused on trying to get him in his recovery that one day I was rushing to get his medication and take my vitamin. And so I accidentally, not being mindful, I put my vitamin in the same pocket that I was going to administer his medicine. And so I pulled out his medicine, and I was still early on not familiar with all the medicine. So I accidentally left one of his medications, which was the blood pressure. And I took that pill, and it was a type of blood pressure medication where it drops your blood pressure. And since I had a healthy blood pressure, you can only imagine what happened. It dropped me so low that I couldn't stand. My everything was opening up in my body. My son had to take me to the emergency room, and it was there that one of the doctors, after they got me stable and everything, called CDC, find out what they had to give me a lot of fluid to pump it out. And she asked me what happened. And I told her, she said, I know you're doing something wonderful for your brother, but you have to take care of yourself first. And you have to be mindful of what you're doing, because this could have been a disaster for you. And so that was my wake up, that I have to plan his day and plan my day and be mindful of everything that I do, because you're managing two lives. I'm managing two lives. And have I mastered it? Pretty much, but there are times I'm very frustrated. And there's times when people say, "Oh, you're such a good sister." And I'll tell them the honest truth, and I'll be transparent here. I don't look at myself as being a good sister. I feel like I'm just doing the right thing, because our parents are deceased. He has no wife, he has no children. And if I don't advocate for him and be there, I might as well put my brother in a coffin, because he's very extrovert. And since he's recovered, I was able to put him in a what you call those apartment buildings where everyone is disabled. So now he can live independently. I only help him with his medications, financial, and his transportation. He's thrived so much, you guys. He's speaking well. His cognitive has improved. He's building relationships. And finally, he asked for a companion. I felt like he was ready for a dog. So we have Daisy now in the family. And even though it changed my retirement life, when you see someone that cannot survive on their own, and you know that you making a difference in their life with every smile, with every gesture, and it's because you allow them to regain some normalcy and some humanity, it makes it worth it. So yeah, St. Thomas or Puerto Rico is delayed, but seeing my brother feel like a man in the best way that he possibly can is worth that sacrifice for me. And I'm very happy that I stepped up, did the right thing by him.
100%. Now I have to ask first, what kind of dog is Daisy? And then also,
Oh, she is a Daisy is so cute. So about 2 years ago, my brother asked for a dog, but I said, no, I don't think you're ready for a dog. So we were at a local Goodwill. I don't know if I'm able to say that. We're at a local Goodwill. So I saw this little brown dog. I said, oh, here's your dog. Here, we'll take this dog and put it on your mantle. So he did. And then the following year, he said, I really want a dog. And again, I said, oh, I don't think you're ready for a dog. Right? So I found a little black one. I said, here, I found a little black one. Take that one and put on your mantle. So the third year, which is this year, he says, I really want a companion. I said, well, you know what? I think you're ready. So I'll go out and find you a dog. How much you think you want to pay? He told me the amount. And so I found a dog. And guess what? She's brown, just like his original dog. She's Havanese and Poodle mix. We bought her from a breeder. Surprising to us, she was already housebroken. And that was a blessing. And when he held her, I don't want to get emotional, but when he held her really tight. And he said, this is my dog. And he fell in love with her, and they gelled so quickly. And so that is his buddy. You know, he's been able to take care of her very well. He remember everything that needs to be done. I hear the glee in his voice when he talks about her. I see the smile when he picks her up and looks at her. And so I know, again, as a caregiver, I made the right decision. And I think the universe was letting us know that Daisy was coming into his life, because I thought it was awful cute that the first dog that I found was a brown dog, and he fell in love with her. So that was a good choice. Well, a good decision.
yes, I was going to ask, how he's been able to take care of her, and it sounds like, very positive situation. And as the caregiver, you knew when the time was right. And,
Hmm.
dogs can bring so much joy into someone's life. And it sounds like she has done just that.
Yeah, she's special. She really is. And by the way, the family, I'm gonna tell you, she's very special because my son, he doesn't like little dogs. He like those big dogs. And so when we introduced Daisy to the family, I knew the girls were gonna like her, and my son's wife. But my son took to Daisy, and he thought she was so cute. He wanted to play with her. He likes holding her. So I just knew that this was a special dog that came into our life and that she's making a difference in my brother's life. And I'm happy that we have a backup plan that the family is going to keep her time, because I want to start taking my brother out more and more to social gatherings. We're going to his first play next month in June. So the family's going to watch Daisy, and he's looking forward to that. And so I've been really trying to give him the social life more. And the people in his building has invited him to parties. The other day, they took him out to lunch. And I tell you, as a caregiver, again, it just makes your heart feel so good when you see they can thrive in some kind of way, and you are part of that process.
Yes, you can hear like how much joy and pride you have in everything your brother has gone through. Now, I want to make sure, we talk about your game and that part of your journey. So can you share a little bit more about, kind of just what the game is that you first started with
Mhm.
and that sort of development process that you had to go through?
Oh, so well, back in 21, after I got my brother stabilized, I was feeling a little down somewhat because I wanted something for myself and trying to figure out what that was. I just hadn't figured out. So I don't know the exact date in December, the day in December. I went to bed like I normally do. And then I woke up and I was thinking about this game, and it just stayed with me. So the next morning when I got up, I kept thinking about it. And keep in mind, I'm someone that I didn't play a lot of games growing up, and it wasn't because they weren't available. I just had a hard time staying focused. So I'm thinking maybe I was one of those people that didn't get diagnosed properly. I just couldn't stay focused. Um, and so I went to my local hardwood store, got some pink cards, and then I just started the vision that I saw in my head. I just started putting the game together on my bed. And then I shared it with my family. The girls loved it. And so then I went home and I did more expanding the game. And then I started seeing I sat outside on my deck, made me a nice plate of food. I said, okay, universe, God, you want this game? Show me what I need to do. And then the formula came to me. I started moving cards and the number of cards you need for each action that you needed to do. And so I finally got the formula right. And then I revisited my family. We played it. And so the objective of the game is you have to be the last player holding the card. The last player holding the card. Because there are cards that's going to eliminate as you play the game. Some of the elements of the game, people say it reminds them of the matching piece of Uno. And then there's cards that say give and take cards. Some people say it reminds them of a game, left, right, center. And then there's the shifting. You never keep your hand in this game. So whatever cards you dealt originally, you will not keep those cards, because when it's time to shift, your cards may go to a player to the left of you or to the right. And then you have, of course, the wild card, which is also used to stay in the game or to eliminate. The process of developing this game was very interesting, and I want to be very honest and transparent. When I met my mentor from SCORE, he asked me, why am I doing this? And I honestly told him, I don't know. The game is so fun. You can play, two people can play around in 3 minutes. It's really fast. And I said, I just feel like kids need something else that they can do that will stimulate them, that's rapid, and the parents can connect with them because I saw the magic with my game with my family. And so I wanted to, actually, it wasn't me. Let me take that back. It was my granddaughter. She pushed me. She said, Gigi, I really think this game will be great for other kids. And so I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know anything about business. I saved my money, got my prototype made. I tested for over a year. And so I said, okay, I think I'm going to do this. So I had a mentor. We talked about it. He tried to find people that could help me in the game industry, but we had difficulty. And so I did get it manufactured to do more testing. And my biggest mistake was I wrote my rules too brief. It's almost like a recipe when you tell someone a pinch of salt. What is a pinch of salt? Is it a teaspoon, a tablespoon? How little is the pinch? So my rules were too brief. And one of the persons that he had recruited to help me, oh man, he really made me feel bad. And I don't think he did it intentionally, but I felt really bad because I was entering a space I knew nothing about, but I was passionate about balance, digital balance. So I had to rewrite my rules. I went to my business class and I stayed up to about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning rewriting them, and I finally got them right. And then I was able to. I was in a car accident where I sustained a concussion, and so they gave me some money, and the little money that they gave me, I was able to buy the games to manufacture them. I applied to Walmart in August. They picked me up. So I'm online at Walmart. I was once they was able to issue my check, I used all of it and to buy a large number of the games to keep the price competitive with everyone else. And I went online in October, and so it's out there. But then guess what happened to me, you guys? My military disabilities are flaring up. And so I'm fighting to regain some normalcy. I'm going to keep pushing myself. God has blessed me to meet some people who want to work with me with the game because they've had an opportunity to play and they like it. But I'm telling you, for the disabled people out there, if there's something you want to do not allow your disability to stop you from trying. If I would have thought that my disabilities would flare up in the way they did, I may have been like so many of us say, oh, I'm not going to try. But when you're passionate about something and you want to make a difference in this world despite your health, no matter what you think your limitations are and they're real to you, still try and see what you can do. And that's what I'm doing. I'm pushing myself to still try to make an impact, to encourage parents to have digital balance with their kids. And I'm offering a solution of a game that's quick play that you can connect, multi generations can play this game. It's not the solution that's going to stop your kids from putting down their screens because it's a partnership. You have to use other tools to help with that. But I didn't want to just be an advocate and not offer something in hand that you can start with. So my game, ZomadicShift, can help with that effort.
Right. So it sounds like, you had some twists and turns, maybe some critical feedback that was at first hard to hear, but you've come out on the other side for, publication and development. Now, do you have another game in the back of your pocket? Are you going to continue developing games? Or is this kind of this is the one and that's the passion, and now you're going down other avenues?
Well, I do have the original ZomadicShift, and just people asking, oh, how you come up with that name? Nomads, they don't stay around. So I wanted something with my name. Not that I'm vain. Zorina is the last alphabet. So I put Z in front of the nomadic. So, and then the shift because the game shifts. So that was my original. I was vending one day and a little girl wanted to play the game. She was, I think she had to been about 6. And so she had difficulty playing the original one. And so I was swimming one day, and I prayed, and I said, how can I modify it so little kids can have that same suspense and play with grandparents and their parents and everything? So I was able to modify it, and that game is called ZomadicShift. ZomadicShift is going to be my brand. That game is called Pass and Play, and so that one is for kids 4 to 10, and then ZomadicShift is for kids and adults 11 to adults. So then I do have a third game. It's called Face Off, and so it's pending copyright. And so I'm hoping they'll make a decision soon because I've already tested with my family and they've given me to go ahead and start testing a wider group, which I'm going to do. But my mentor and I have decided let's focus on the two that I have before I roll out the third. But I'm so anxious to roll out the third because it has such cute little faces for kids to match, and it's a whole different dynamic. But again, all the card games I want to create, they have to be fast. I want them to be fast game starters where you get in, pick up, have some fun with your kids, whether you're sitting at the restaurant, which my granddaughter and I have played the games at restaurant in between waiting on our meals. A big quick up game, just connect really fast, find out what's going on in their world, talk about yours, and move on. And so, yeah, I do.
I mean, you've got the right passion for it. You have a good reason to want to be doing it. So it's exciting to hear how, it's grown and what you've got going on with it. And you also mentioned your first book. You've got a children's book. So do you want to share a little bit about, that story and what that's been like?
I am so excited about my children's book. It is such a challenge because I've always liked to read other people's work. And so when Dancing Teardrops, that's the name of it, Dancing Teardrops. It's just about a little girl that was going to have her first tea party with her grandmother, Nana. And they had a thunderstorm that day. And so she was sad that it looked like she wasn't going to have her tea party. So Nana tries to cheer her up. And so in cheering her up, her name, the character is Bella. And so she spotted a bluebird, and that's what takes the story off because she likes bluebird. And so she wanted to see the bluebird up close. And so Nana lets her go outside. And so while she's outside, she really realizes that I'm not going to have my tea party today. And so Nana tells her, you have dancing teardrops. And she just thought that was so cute. I have dancing teardrops. And next thing you know, she's happy. She started dancing in the rain, and her Nana started dancing with her. So both of them were just dancing in the rain, enjoying themselves. And then, of course, they come back inside and get dressed. And then she tells her dolls, Henry and Kylie, that the next time they can have dancing teardrops too. So it's really just a story about how a little girl is sad and how everything turned out to be still a wonderful day as they danced amongst the raindrops, and how that experience cheered her up that she wants to do it again with her toys. And it shows how, sometimes we can have bad things happen, but we can be resilient in turning things around. It also shows the family bond of a grandparent and their grandchild bonding together and turning something good from something that did not happen and disappointment and trying to cheer your grandchild up. And so that's one of the things I love about the story because I like spending time with my two granddaughters. And my youngest was the one that inspired me to continue to write the story. And she's sort of like my editor to tell me, different things to pull out. And so I honestly put the book on the shelf and forgot about it. And then I met an editor and we were talking about things. And I just casually mentioned that I wrote a children's book. And she said, where is it? I said, it's on the shelf. And she said, well, let me look at it. And I let her look at it. She thought it was a cute story. And she encouraged me to publish. And here we are. And I can just still pinch myself because, again, this was a very stretched assignment. because that was the early stages of taking care of my brother, and that's why I didn't finish because things got really heavy in taking care of him, and I wasn't able to continue the story. But I finally did finish it. I just didn't have the courage to do anything else with it until I met her. So again, whatever you're trying to work on, you never hit perfection. Don't try to be perfected. It doesn't have to be perfect. Put it out there. Get some feedback. See what you have to do to make it better. But you are worthy to do everything in your life that you can do so you can have the best version of yourself. And this is just another version of me giving my best to be impactful in a positive way in the lives of children.
Yes. Yeah, you've got such a can-do attitude for, yourself, and you want like the best for everyone else as well in all of your encouragement. So it's exciting to hear everything, you've been able to do just in retirement in the past few years.
Yeah, it is sweet. I have to tell. But see, retirement can allow that to happen when you really go into yourself and you see all the things that you've gone through over the years, and you say, okay, I know I'm in my latter part of the life because I'm 61. I'm not ashamed to say I'm 61. And so I know how many years are behind me. I don't know how many years are ahead. And so I do want to make the most of it. And the only time I find myself a little sad and being transparent is when my conditions flare up because it's just painful. But I don't allow it to stop me because, again, I have my brother. I have to stay on top of my game for him. So I have to show up for myself first. And then once I show up for me, then I can help others. And so that's what brings me joy, that despite what I'm going through in my personal health, I'm still trying to make a difference. And I think that's what one of the keys, when we can look beyond ourselves and see the value that we can bring to others to make this world a better place for those who are seeking some help, whether seeking help like I am with veterans, or a child being able to read a story and have some fun with their grandparents, or parents coming together and play my game ZomadicShift. I just feel like I'm leaving a part of me in every entity that I'm doing, and that's what I want to do with the rest of my life. Continue to be a service to others, but maintain balance in making sure I'm also having the quality life that I deserve at this time.
Yes, such good words to make sure you're living by, putting yourself forward first. Always good to hear. Now, before I start to wrap things up, is there anything else you would like to share with the listeners today?
I just like to also, you know, I'm speaking to parents and grandparents. Our kids have been thrust into the digital world. And we all like digital. I like digital. TikTok, I sometimes can spend hours and catch myself watching those little videos on TikTok and all of that. And we're moving into AI now. And so our world is just moving so fast, and we like the benefits of it because it does save some time and everything. But we also have to be mindful of the impact it can have on our children. For example, there are a lot of kids that don't even know how to tell time because in their classroom, they don't use traditional clocks like many of us grew up with. They use in digital. Some people might say, oh, that's not a big deal. I think so. When you're making things too simple for our kids, you're taking away their ability to think things critically and everything. You're making it too simple. So when they want to just start looking up things and, not knowing their timetables because they can just go on their phone and use their calculator, I feel, this is just my personal assessment, I feel like you're dumbing them down. Because what happens if we no longer have access to the internet? Will they still be able to function? And many of them will not be able to function because we allow the digital to touch every aspect of our life. So I want to encourage parents, teach your kids how to tell time. Things that they're not learning at school that would be beneficial for survival. You teach them at home. You take the time to have screen breaks and find out what's going on with schools, because we can regulate these platforms. But do you know that kids are sharing their phones at school? And so you have to tell them the why is not good for them to see things that are beyond their age. And that's what I do with my granddaughters. I tell them it's not like, for example, one was on some kind of platform and a grown up was got her off the platform. Well, now I tell her you don't want to talk to adults because it's dangerous. Things happen. If you can explain to them why they need to put their screens down and why they need to not talk to adults and why they need not see images that are damaging to them, you'll be amazed how smart these kids are. They're much smarter than we were back then, but we are the gatekeepers of their minds. And so don't surrender them to technology just because it's convenient for you. You can put them to the side and say, hey, go play that game. They're your children. You brought them into this world. You're the ultimate protector. And so I want you to join me in spreading the word and encouraging parents to have digital balance, to connect with their children, create those memories like I had growing up, where they can sit back and think about how they played games with their mom and dad, how they made up stories or put puzzles together, or you read a very interesting story, or you even asked them about their day. You are the gatekeepers, and you have a beautiful soul that you can mold into such a positive influence in this world. And so, how can we ask them to be good model citizens if they don't even have the social skills now to communicate with each other without trying to bully and fight and be nasty? Those things are going on in classrooms. They may not tell you about it when they get home, but they're going on, and it's up to us to protect them. So join me in advocating for digital balance and spend quality time with your kids and getting to know your kids. And I tell you, you will be a happy parent when you connect with your children in a beautiful way. And that's what I'm advocating for. They are our future, and they do need us, and we should show up for them.
Lots of good things to think on and good bits of advocacy there. So I appreciate you sharing all of that. At the end of all my episodes, I do ask my guests a random question that doesn't have to do with what we've been talking about. So my question for you is, how do you like your coffee or tea?
Actually, I like my coffee. I love ginger tea with some condensed milk and a little honey.
All right, that brings this episode to a close. So, of course, if you would like to connect with Zorina and check out her games, her website will be in the description. So that brings you to, more information about her, everything she's got going on, links to purchase at Walmart. And of course, if you would like to connect with the podcast, our website is also in the description. It brings you to all of our past episodes, social media. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, along with lots of other good information. And if you would like to share your own story and be a guest on my show, my email is in the description. That is always the best way to reach me. And there is also a link in the description to support the podcast monetarily if you are interested in that. So thank you so much, Zorina, for spending time with me today, and to my listeners for taking the time out of your day to hear a new story. Until next time, bye.
Goodbye, Sarah. Thank you for having me.